Mad Dog Unleashed is concerned as you chat to you about what's going on. 888 Mad Dog 6. Let's do this because it's not sports related, but it's important. I'll give you a couple cents on it, and then we'll get back to the things on the field, we hope, or on the courts, and away we have it. First off, Roger Goodell, who I know nobody wants to ever give a break to, and, he's dug his own grave millions of times. The media can't stand him. The media, he's a whipping boy for the media. He makes too much money. He does things, of course, with Ray Rice, and, he comes across as a little clueless. He's not exactly the most glib. He's not too adhering to the media. He doesn't do a million interviews. I mean, he's, the catch-through, the non-catch-through. I mean, the concussion stuff. I mean, he really is always caught between a rock and a hard place. I mean, the concussion stuff, if he comes up with a lot of policies to negate tough hits, he gets called by the players and by fans as being soft and they're not playing football, and this is stupid, and then we get more leg injuries if we can't go up high, blah blah blah. And then if he doesn't come down hard on the concussion stuff and illegal hits to the head, then he gets sued by the old players, billions and billions of dollars, something that he had nothing to do with, because the NFL neglected the CTE connection forever and ever and ever. So he really is damned if he doesn't there. And then he's also damned if he doesn't as far as the whole thing with this kneel down situation, which obviously reared its ugly head a great deal last year. And so if he doesn't do anything and he allows the players to go on the field and half these teams kneel, he's going to hear from a lot of his fan base who are customers, and he's going to hear from a lot of the huge advertisers, Papa John's, Budweiser beer, and a man of these huge advertisers who give the NFL billions of dollars, and he's going to hear, Roger, we're not going to get involved if you can't discipline your teams. And then he's also going to hear from the networks, because the ratings, without any issues whatsoever, took a little hit last year. You can define what little is until the cows come home, but they were down last year, and there's no argument that the players' actions with the kneel down had a little something, and Kaepernick had something to do with it. So he, from that perspective, and then he's got his labor force, which has some fair gripes regarding police brutality and, all the issues with black-white relations and everything else. So he's got a labor force that is predominantly African-American. So he's in a very, very tricky spot. And I'm not exactly sure what you want the guy to do. I mean, he has held he's held a million focus groups. He's brought a lot of the players into New York with the Players Association, guys like Malcolm Jenkins and people like that. And he has, pledged about $100 million of the owner's hard-earned money to deal with social causes that directly affect NFL players, whatever they may be, whether it's school systems, whether that's urban areas, the police departments. He has gone out of his way to listen to his workforce and try to at least indicate to them that he understands what they're griping about. So he's put his money where his mouth is, to make a long story short. But on the other hand, he's got the business aspect of his sport, which, screams and yells, rightfully so in a lot of ways, that they don't want to be basically kneeled to when it comes to the national anthem. Nobody wants to go to a football game and deal with all the mess they have to deal with. Whether it's traffic, PSLs, standing in line, all that nonsense, waste their whole Sunday. Now, granted, they don't have to do it, but they decide to do it, and it's entertainment for them. Nobody wants to go to those games and then have the players kneel for the American flag. They just don't want it. They don't want to deal with that. So even a Patriot fan, the most loyal fan in America, is going to boo when Patriot players did it last year. They're going to give them a hard time. So there's a disconnect in a lot of cases between the players and the fan base. And then, of course, fan base being advertisers and television. And here now, boom, is Goodell stuck in the middle. And it's a very, very, it's a slippery slope. And so what he came up with to try to appease both sides, and I think it's an impossible spot. I don't think you really can kill him for it. What he came up with was something that he thought was fair. If you decide to come out for the national anthem, and that is your decision, but if you decide to come out for the national anthem, if you're an NFL player, you will stand. You will stand. So the player is not going to be able to demonstrate in front of 90,000 people who don't want to be demonstrated to. So if the player wants to be out there and he wants to have something to say and he wants to make sure his feelings are heard, he's going to have to do it on his own time. He's not going to do it on the NFL's time. Now, he is not going to be forced to stand. So he has the option, a la what Pittsburgh did in the game against the Bears last year. He has the option just to sit in the locker room and do what he wants to do. And, you know, the Chris Long, white or black, do what he wants to do, and then run out in the field when the game's about to begin. Now, he does not have to, Goodell, go through the Players Association. This is not a CBA decision, collective bargaining. This is in the rules that the NFL can decide how they want their players to, you know, stand for attention. The NBA has all their players stand for the national anthem. So he did not break any protocol as far as the bargaining goes with the Players Association. So the Players Association can go on their high mighty throne and tell everybody, well, we'll look at this fine-tooth comb and blah blah blah, and we'll make sure. No, nonsense. Bottom line is that from what I read here this afternoon, Goodell has every right to implement, and the owners have every right to implement. It's their team, it's their stadium. Well, it's really the city. It's the community stadiums. But it's, you know, a lot of them don't get it for free. But you get the idea. It's their team. They pay the bills, and they have a right to expect their workforce, just like anywhere else, to stand for the national anthem. Now, they are going to give the players, throw them a bone, and say, I understand if you don't want to do that, but you're going to do it on your own time. You're not going to do it on my time. You do it in the locker room. And to me, I know the player may not like this because he's basically being told that he can't kneel when a national anthem is taking place. And I know that a lot of players will get bent out of shape by that, thinking that's not the right thing to do. How could they tell me what to do? Blah, it's free country, freedom of speech, and all that nonsense. Bottom line is, you represent that team. You represent that team, and that team has the right, through collective bargaining, to tell you what you need to do with the national anthem. Now, if you don't like it, you could do, I don't know, you know, the options are two things. You can not come out for the national anthem, or you can quit, do something else. See if you can make $30 million doing something else. $20 million a year doing something else. So I don't really have, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I don't want to hear any of these plans that talk show hosts Steve Torrey or Danny Cannell or Evan Cohen have. This is simply it. And I think it's fair. If you want to come out for the anthem, love to have you. You're standing. If you don't want to come out, we're not going to go crazy about it. Nobody's going to get fined, but you're going to stay in the locker room. I don't know what this is a workforce. This is the work rules. Every company in America has got has workplace rules. This is a workplace rule, and we are implementing it unilaterally. All right, San Francisco, a very soft team anyway, and a soft city, and New York I don't trust, and everything else. You know, they're going to abstain from voting. Well, they got Eric Reed and Kaepernick and all that nonsense, so maybe they feel they have to do that to placate their fan base. I don't know, because that's a soft, very, very, very soft fan base. I don't know that. York's a soft owner to begin with, so he can do what he wants to do, but who cares what York does? There's 31 others who voted for this. And I don't have a major problem with it. You know, you decide to work for a particular company, whether it's here at Sirius, whether it's at the CVS store, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's whatever it might be, every other sport, you will stand for the national anthem. And they did not break a CBA rule here now. That's the thing that you need to keep an eye on. They have the right to establish their own workplace rules. That's not collectively bargained. And they have now put this on the table, and you will do it the way they want to do it. If you don't, you can do something else. Go play in the Canadian Football League. So, I mean, and I know people are going to get on Goodell, and, you know, he's heavy-handed, and he's only doing the owner's bidding, and he makes $50 million a year, and he's got his 30-acre mansion in Maine, and what do you want the guy to do, for crying out loud? I mean, he's running a business, a huge corporation. This is a huge enterprise in national football. They own Sundays. They took it away from the church, as the movie Concussion said. What do you want him to do? He's got major advertisers moaning and groaning to him. He's got all the network people who he takes billions of dollars from moaning and groaning about it. They don't want to deal with this. Bad ratings, and it has been. And he's got his fan base booing the players at stadiums. I'd be damned. Listen, I don't go to a ton of games, but I'd be damned if I'm going to spend and it's my choice to go to the games, so I understand that too. But I'd be damned if I'm going to spend my whole Sunday afternoon dealing with traffic, parking, gouging with prices, PSLs, long bathroom lines, and all that nonsense. That is, and then I got to deal with 30 players kneeling. That would bother me too. I don't want to be this is a Sunday. I want to enjoy myself. I want to be entertained. They are in the entertainment business. Empty seats and booing and bad ratings and all that and poor advertising, that doesn't help anybody, players included. So I don't have any problem with what Goodell did. I really don't. I know people are going to make a big deal about it. I don't know what exactly he wanted the man to do. He has dug his own grave in many scenarios where he's done stupid things, the Ray Rice thing and, the arbitrary punishments and all that. Nobody's going to sit there and defend Goodell on certain issues. Nobody, including me. Nobody. But he takes way, way too much a hit. That's a tricky job. He's got, thousands of players. He's got tough owners. He's got advertisers, and he gets $50 million for it. It ain't easy. And I don't think he did anything wrong here. I really don't. Quarter after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.